Good evening to you and yours. I'm Philip Jones, Martini Whisperer, and welcome to Friday night cocktail time live with yours truly and you, wherever you are in the world. Here we go. Waterhole mixer, 45 thin, massive deck, little juniper, Vika Song Limited, Chin Chin, and Gin Days too. All the beautiful people are here tonight. Welcome back to another monthly instalment of me rabbiting on about good things about booze and cocktails and martinis as we go along. So I'm kind of dedicating, strangely enough, last time I did last month, poor old Melbourne, I think it was still through. Victoria's going to have one of those awful lockdowns tonight for about 5 days. And yeah, so this one's for you guys in Victoria. May the next 5 days be as fast and as pleasant as possibly can be, all things considered. Your health. Stay well. Cheers. I feel you. So welcome everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be here for another 30 minutes or so, but I'm happy to field questions along the way. I hope you got something agreeable in a glass. I'd like to know what you're drinking, by the way. So feel free to shout out below. And I want to tell you, I thought this time around a bit of news and also some, thank you, Stankets. I've been doing a spring clean of the bar behind me here and doing a kind of monthly kind of checkup because I've got some events coming up. So it's my library of reference materials and stock, and there's stuff there and there's stuff there and under the bed and in the office. You don't go thirsty if you come to my place. So if you ever swing past, drink something. Anyway, point of the story is I've turned up some interesting bottles that I thought it'd be kind of fun to share with you from times past, and some new ones as well. So let's dive in, shall we? So, before I do that, I've been a bit slack. I've been promising you a bunch of reviews and articles. I'm doing a filming day tomorrow for my YouTube channel of some of the things. I'm trying to supplement the articles with 3-4 minute little grabs on different spirits. So there's a bunch there already, including reviews of distillers. So I think I've got over 60 clips there up there now, and cocktail recipes and things like that from years past. So I got my A into G, and I'm doing some filming tomorrow for the next few months. I do a whole batch at once. My methodology is I do a whole batch at once, go mini studio, and then upload them, and then they're pre-programmed to go out every week. So look out for that. Anyways, back to that. So I've updated the site, but what I have done is, you may be aware, I've been maintaining a list of the list of Australian distillers since 2012 or thereabouts, long time ago, probably the original list, I think, of all the distillers in Australia. And when I was just starting out, kind of just blogging for fun of it, and then obviously things evolved to what they are now. Thank you, thanks to your support. Anyway, every month now I update all the gin makers and vodka makers. So fun fact, and they all have links back to the respective websites or social media feed if I don't have a website yet. And so in any given time, so you go to my homepage, you'll see my ugly face, article index, and that will take you to, you'll see all the hot links at the top of all of the 200 plus articles below. So at last count, there are some 47 Australian rum makers in Australia. There are 119 whiskey and related fields. There are 362 gin makers. Just think of that, 362 distillers of gin. And they keep coming. I've got another 5 to add next month for more. 126 vodka. And about 19 Australian vermouth makers. So I've been tracking vermouth in Australia for a while now, and it's great to see more and more come up. Some have got occasional releases and things. And yes, there are some double ups. So you will have whiskey makers who will make vodka or rum or other or multiples of. So I accept the fact that there are overlaps along the way. But still, pretty steady growth. And so as I said, I've got another few to add as I go. Anyway, so you want to discover some, go to that and just link through. And I try and note when they're new for each year. So you'll see new next to it. And some quite, and the first ever Northern Territory distillery, Darwin Distillery, out of a bar called Charlie's in Darwin. Very first distillery in Northern Territory. So go you guys. Awesome. Right, let's talk some about booze, shall we? Cheers to you. Hope you're well and safe and got something agreeable. Dicky Hog DK, Vinestra Barrel. Love to see you come along. Cheers. In case you're wondering about this, which I'm sure you weren't, by way of comparison, and because I get the good stuff out on a Friday night. Regular martini glass. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. This is vintage from back in 1965 or even 62, earlier that. I've got about 2 of them. Oh yes, Adelaide Hills is an excellent. Oh, they have a drop in? Yes, they do. That's very good. So yeah, it's fantastic. I've had that. That's fairly new from memory. And they make a fantastic gin, of course, too. So good find. Thank you. Yes, yeah, anyway, so yes. So this is the big bad boy. Back in the day, they knew how to party. So regular martini glass, my one. So if I lose the power of speech towards the end of this episode, you'll understand why. Let's talk about gin. So, sometimes you buy a bottle just because you like the look of it. And, impulse buy. And they do say in retail, even in retail liquor, most decisions are made within 5 feet of that shelf. They go, oh, that's what I want. Well, that's pretty, I'll buy that. Or brand recognition. So we're told. Anyways, this thing here, back to front, I know. Abelforth out of UK. Now, it's brand paper bottle, so you can't see what's in it. You can't even see how much you've got. If you've got a kind of shaky. Abelforth bathtub gin. And if you pin me to the floor and, had to have probably one last gin, this may well be it. I know. I'm putting it out there. It's not a martini gin, but it is a masterclass in how to handle botanicals. Beautifully closely woven. So in the colour, I could pour a little slug out, see what you mean. Smell-o-vision. Very pale colour. You just see that hint there? So remember, bathtub gin is usually made from the infusion of botanicals. And on the nose, bright, aromatic, floral, no spirit at all. And I just drink it on ice. So I've had one of those days, one of those weeks, a glass of this on ice. So just one of those things where you buy a bottle because you think it's kind of pretty and you get blown away by the quality. Just really, and there's dozens of botanicals in this, but they're really, really delicate and really closely woven and balanced out. So if you want to discover an exciting gin, Abelforth out of UK. Bought that a couple of years ago and it's still good. We've also got a newish release from the fantastic team out of Freefold in South Australia. These are bar fellows. There's an article, not shameless plug, on my site from last year or year before, of their original release. So they're a very contemporary style gin, as you can see with the packaging here. And their deal is they just use essentially free botanicals or free major things in the folk, hence the name Freefold. In this case, this is the newish one. Great packaging, really bright, and you've got olive, lemon, and thyme. They've got another release which is more around citrus kind of forward and so on. So this is just delicious. Again, good for martini, but gin and tonic and a very contemporary style. Nice rounded mouthfeel. And you'll note they do the 500ml bottle. And this is what you see more and more. I think it's quite a clever play because it means the price point, because our excise is so expensive here in Australia, it means that the price point of the bottles is a bit more attractive. Yes, you need to buy another bottle sooner than the 700ml bottle, but you can get bits on these for a bit cheaper at the retail level. So it's smart play. What else we got? Welcome, Kavu. Chin Chin. Congratulations on all your achievements recently and for seasoned liquor. Thanks for tuning in. I am sharing just some thoughts about I'm doing a stock take and freshen up of the library behind me here. And I thought I'd just share with you some of the spirits I discovered along the way, as you do. Cheers to you. Stay well. They asked me not to do this, but I'm doing it anyway, and you know who you are. I was very lucky to be sent a very gracious email a few months ago, just basically thanking me for doing what I do, and I just do it because I love distilling and craft distillers and cocktail culture and anything with beautiful people like yourself. So this is a new release again from South Australia, Little Juniper. They said not to talk about social media, but I just wanted to I'll say this very briefly. This is a really gorgeous gin. If you like the Herno style, that really viscous, soft mouthfeel with lovely botanicals, certified organic, beautiful classic London dry style. This won't last very long. It makes a killer dry martini. So thank you. And folks, look out for Little Juniper. It's just new release coming out of South Australia and beautifully done. So thanks, kids. What else we got? Something really exotic. And if you're from overseas, this will kind of blow your mind a bit. If it's Australian, this could be very interesting. Out of Illawarra. Illawarra, we're talking now. So Wollongong, that neck of the woods, south of Sydney. The fine folk little distillery, create what could be, oh, thanks kids, my singular Australian gin kicking around. Now we all know that distillers in Australia are mastering and doing a great job working with native botanicals like pepperberry, lemon myrtle and all the rest. Please don't give me another lemon myrtle gin, just by the way. I think it's a bit overdone quietly. However, the fine folk in the distillery have come up with, this came out last year, and again, it's written up on my site for more details, so I won't go into great details now. Check this bottle out, isn't it fantastic? And what they do, sustainable production, very small batch. They hand forest the botanicals, including a native juniper to the region. So we're not talking juniper berries out of Macedonia and where else ever. We're talking an indigenous berry, and again, there's a bit on the site about this, and it's got a green kind of berry, very small yield. So is it gin? Is it not gin? That's the question. It's very good and very interesting, and when I've done a blind tasting with people for guests and so forth, smell vision, very, very subtle, and unlike any other kind of spirit. I mean, it's beautifully made and quite subtle, but it's hard to get your head around because it's not like anything you've ever tasted. So it's a tricky thing to set out to do, really. However, quite successful, and they take this and infuse, and I think they only make 100 bottles a time, like a really small batch, because it's all hand forage, based on a grain spirit from a sustainable farmer they work with. So great lads. So look it up on the site. These are Headland Distillery guys down the south coast of New South Wales. Again, beautiful bottle. You just make out the Headland Distillery in the bottle there. They're referencing pharmaceutical notes. Anyways, and this is their Illawarra plum infused version, which is just quite gorgeous actually. Again, light, not sweet, very natural, organic sort of style, so very singular. So they infused the Durango plum, again, native to the region, they hand foraged with their native gin and so on and so forth. So they're very interesting release, but the discussion is a gin or not gin, so it goes. And I know that over in South Australia, Kangaroo Island, the fine folk there, they're making a gin and they work with a lot of native botanicals. So welcome if you're just tuning in. Ashburgman, welcome to my home, Echuca Distillery. Stay safe and well this week, friends, if you're in Victoria. It totally sucks, so this one's for you kids. I am rabbiting on about a couple of different things, and most importantly just sharing some things I've turned up in my bar because I'm doing a bit of a spring clean, as I mentioned just before. And it's good to discover old stuff and new stuff, and just thought I'd share that with you tonight. Cheers. Oh, that's in the spot. Okay, speaking of Kangaroo Island, which I just was, I'm doing a Martini masterclass next month for a private client, which is a wonderful fun thing to do. And what I try to do is do something different every time I do an event, even though I've done that kind of format quite similar. I like to challenge myself to improve and, you know, just make it a bit more interesting for everybody. So I'm going to lead with their welcome cocktail with a Martinez. And I'm sure you're aware that the Martinez was like the ancestor of the Martini back in the 1860s, 1870s, before and so forth. And the key ingredient, of course, was Old Tom gin, long before London Dry kind of emerged on the scene. So the styles changed. So it's quite a maraschino and sweet vermouth and a whole bunch of other things. So quite a very, very different drink. Thanks for DK, thanks for tuning in. Take care. See you next time. Old Tom gin, yes, Old Tom gin, and this is in fact probably the first Old Tom gin made in Australia. Again, Kangaroo Island spirits in that beautiful place. So we've all heard of John Lark and Bill Lark, they're brothers, and his wife, and they're like legendary pioneers of Australian distilling. And even the pot, like it's just like almost like a tin shed with a little crock pot thing going on. Anyway, lovely, lovely stuff. So I'm going to use this as the base of Martinez for these guys and take them through this chronological journey. However, so if you're in Adelaide, you go to the markets. Last time I looked, they had a stall there. You can pick up little traveller packs of their range, and and again, they make beautiful, beautiful spirits. And to their credit, now I think of it. Speaking of which I don't think I still have. When I got going way back when, 2012, I was saying I was just kind of blogging back in the day, and I had the list of Australian distillers and doing that for a bit of a hobby. They were the first to send me product to review. We're talking a long time ago. They sent me their range of vodkas. And so my very first article was Kangaroo Island vodka. So God bless them. Thanks guys, and the rest is history. What else is in drinks? So we've touched on the bathtub gin, the Headlands Distillery gin out of Illawarra, that's amazing use of native junipers. This is a bit ratto field. Berlin. So when we used to fly to places, other continents, business class, and it's all very agreeable. Well, once I went to Berlin, long time ago, seems like another age, right? And so, fun fact, they actually make really good gin in Germany. And of course, we all know from schnapps and their wine and so on and so forth. So this is really kind of a cultural shift. So it's got a different layer of, I guess, movement and attention to craft that we have here in Australia, which kind of came out of England and America and places like that. But anyway, I just kind of Googled when I was thinking about this, and there was like Berliner. I'll get this right. Berliner Blandstifter is the brand. And now there's probably from memory, about 20 different distillers, maybe more in Germany now. But these are young guys, cool cats, and I actually met them for lunch. So generous and of their day. And to make gin at all is a bit of a big deal, kind of like who drinks gin in Germany, right? This is their words. And so the actual name, the fun fact, is referencing the Reichstag fire. So it's Berlin, right? So there's all layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. So Brandstifter is like a fire starter. So cheeky, very cheeky. And that was their way of kind of making a name for themselves. They've gone on from strength to strength, and I've been saving this bottle they gave to me 10 years ago more now, ever since. And I'm just saving it for like a rainy day. But again, it's on my site, so maybe you want to drill down and have a look at that. Very interesting. But again, it was a cultural movement as much as it's a social movement, as much as a craft spirit movement. So lots of layers over there. And you probably all heard of the Ferdinand gins from the Saar Valley, who are just exquisite. And then that comes out of winemaking tradition. So these guys, they worked with organic farmers and things like that to get the grain and the herbs and so on. So they come in from a schnapps liqueur. But the gin itself is kind of light and delicate and very fragrant. There you go. So Berlin Brandstifter from Germany. What else is here? Speaking of places a long way away, welcome everybody, just if you're tuning in, welcome to my home, Philip Jones Martini Whisperer. Welcome back to our monthly catch-up live, as shown you, where I'm talking, and different theme each time. So this time I'm talking about different things in my bar. If you've got a question you want to throw at me, I'm all ears, happy to chat away. And if you're in Victoria, I'm really sorry. I hope the next 5 days go fast and as smoothly and as appreciably as I possibly can for you. Because you're in a new lockdown. So drink up while you still can. You better get that order in. Cheers to you. Speaking of a long way away, I mentioned this in passing last time if you were here. Moscow. So Moscow and vodka. I'm going to repeat the story because it's on Instagram, it kind of bears relevance. So I get tagged a fair bit. I think it's kind of like, that came out wrong way. I don't like being tagged in photos I didn't take myself. The reason being it's stuff to do with me, and I think it's trying to get my attention, and it's all very flattering and nice, but just DM me if you want to, or message me or something, but don't tag me in a photo because I'm not really interested. However, so there was a brand out of Russia who kept tagging me and tagging me and tagging me. They got very high-end black and white photography, so very classy. And we know the vodka category is a pretty cluttered one. If there are something like 6,500 gin brands in the world, I had to think how many vodka brands there are in the world and counting. So how do you stand out? So they were leading with very kind of schmick, classy black and white, Gorky Park, Kremlin, Berlin bars, all this kind of restaurant, but kept tagging me. So I'm like, please stop, just stop. It's like spamming, just stop. And I DM'd, so don't, just stop, which they did, very right back, very nice. And so we're very apologetic, can we send you a bottle of vodka? I said, no, I'm fine for drink. I don't need any more vodka, frankly. But they insisted, so they sent this bottle to me. And it took about, without saying the obvious, about 3 months to come here. It turned up about a month ago. At great expense, very generous of them, because all the customs duty and blah, blah, blah. So just getting here was a bit of a miracle. Anyway, I finally came around to drinking it. So this is vodka 495. I've written to the founder with a whole bunch of questions for a proper write-up and review. They've got to get back to me at some point. And I'll do that then. It's actually not too shabby. I quite like try it again. Podcast. I told you this would do its business. A potato-based vodka, like the Vestal vodka and so on and so forth. 45 fin, good question. Hold that thought. Are there flavoured vermouths you could use for martinis with a twist? Well, if you go back way back when I was talking about the Martinis, the original vodka, try that again, talking about vodka, switching gears, on the original antecedents of the Martini, that use Old Tom gin, it's quite a sweet gin, semi-sweet gin, with sweet vermouth. So what you could do, and this now we're in James Bond territory, that's why I kind of thought I'd sit here. So we've all seen Casino Royale, Eva Green, Daniel Craig, and that famous Martini scene at the table, the poker game. Well, they call that, Ian Flynn came up with a recipe called the Vesper Martini. And it's not a bad drink in the right hands. So what you actually need is you need gin, you need a vodka, and you need a vermouth like, this is Lillet Blanc, it's back to front. It's essentially vermouth. And what you do, the tricky is this is a bit sweeter than the original version. People often use Cocky Americano if you can get your hands on that. So this is based on around Seville oranges and herbs and a bit of spirit. So what you do is equal parts, and to kind of dial it back the sweetness, you add Agostino bitters into the mix as well. Has a bit of a fix there, and shake it over a lemon peel or an orange peel, and bubble through. So that's one way 45 in. You can do that. In a regular martini, I've often used this. People don't like a dry martini, so what you can do is my little subtle trick, pro tip. So you're making your drink. So I actually got a glass here, it's kind of handy. So I get this, or like a sweeter vermouth. You make your martini like normal, but you kind of put the extra vermouth in the glass, like so. This is that Aberforth gin I was talking about before. I'm not going to throw it out. Beautiful, so aromatic. And you swirl the glass and pour it back in the bottle. Don't throw it away. Don't pour it in the sink. It's just waste. It's disrespectful of the makers of vermouth. So yes, so what you do is you rinse in the glass, and some of that will stay in the thing. There is an Australian vermouth, 45 fin, called Causes and Cures. Comes out of Victoria. It's where they're winemakers. Small batch release, and it's a semi-sweet whitish vermouth. Absolutely gorgeous. Perfect for that sort of business. So if you, they make a sweet one, it's not so great. But their white one, it's not far away from this. Absolutely beautiful. It's a very wine based. Anyway, so you rinse the glass, you've got just a little few mils coating thing. You make a martini, pour it in, and it just rounds the whole thing out. So that's one way you can do it. Hope that helps you. Right, so your vodka. Anyway, so not too bad. So I usually prefer a potato-based vodka, like Vestal out of Lingwan by way of Poland and so forth. And too shabby. This is a beautiful nose, very clean. But my challenge is now how to drink it. Where was I? So continuing the journey. So vodka, we've done gin. Now, speaking of faraway places, it's still in Europe. Sardinia. You knew Sardinia make gin. Italy makes gin. Everybody makes gin, right? So I'm doing, this is not a shameless pub, but it's by way of, if you're a Canberra folk, you're welcome 45 feet anytime. Let me see now. I'm looking for a date here. I5 my little I, 6th of March. Is that right? Yeah, 6th of March. So it's a Saturday. If you're a Canberra local, this will be advertised next week. Places are limited. I'm doing a tasting at a place called the Italian Place in Braddon, and they've got a really amazing range, actually really good vermouth, by the way, some really nice gins, including gins from Sardinia. I knew nothing about Sardinia gins until recently, and I thought I knew a lot about gin. So it comes in amazing bottles, packages, like you can see, and it's absolutely really, really, really good. So it comes in these great packaging, as you can see, and they gave me these sort of sample. Well, I bought these samples. They didn't give them to me. I bought them. I pay my own way for the most part, just so you know, kids. And it's about 6 in the range. They're different makers from Sardinia, so this is like a collective marketing thing. Now this is what's interesting to me. So this, I think they're based on a wine-based spirit, so the mouth feels a bit rounded. Great bright juniper. There's a pink one. Beautiful colour. It looks a bit artificial, but it's divine. It's like a really nice, if you've ever had it, rosé from the south of France. Really flinty and dry, but that kind of raspberry, strawberry notes on the top. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing a workshop around these guys on the 6th of March. So tickets will go on sale next week. So really exciting category. But I guess one of the things I took home in my research, a bit like Scandinavian gins, is that they're built differently. I.e., if you think of this could be a London dry gin, If I drink water, cheers. It's designed for cocktails and martinis and gin and tonics and the rest. But other cultures will build their gins differently. So if we're talking about Scandinavian gins like I slide my little eye, Pernod, for example, one of the world's great gins, contemporary gins. Botanicals are very subtle, what they call closely woven, nice viscosity, and you can just sip them. So some of a really good gin is basically you can just sip them neat or on ice, like a very fine whiskey, and always all flavour notes from the botanicals will come through, at best. Not really designed for a cocktail. You can, I've done it, but they're built differently because they drink them differently, culturally speaking. Same with these guys out of Sardinia. So these are very sipping kind of style, but I'm mucking around. So part of my homework for this workshop I'm doing in March, for this about Sardinian gins in Canberra here on the 6th of March is trying these out in different formats and just seeing what could work. Because there's nothing worse than buying a bottle of gin and not knowing really how best to enjoy it. And you could, you don't want to ruin it either by just chucking some soda or tonic into it. So yes, Sardinian gins is a thing. So changing for that. And just staying on a local vibe for a minute. Excuse me. Chin. If you just joined us, welcome to Martini Time Live with yours truly, Philip Jones, Martini Whisper at my house. This is part of a monthly series I like to do. I'll take questions about cocktails or craft spirits or martinis, of course, as we go. And I've been kind of sharing some of the more obscure labels on my library here behind me as we go about that and all, the things you might want to discover along the way. So yes, thanks for tuning in and your support. What else is going on? So locally, I'm resuming my series of Australian craft spirit tasting experiences in the near future. I'm just looking in a regular venue, which I say every month basically I'll have Australian gin, Australian whiskey, Australian rum, which is a really exciting category, vodka and the rest, mousse and so forth. So I'll have a little cubby house of my own, so to speak, and you'll be able to come along in small groups. And of course, if you want me to come to your place, I do house calls. So in fact, this time last Friday, I was doing a virtual Martini masterclass with some beautiful ladies around Australia, which went for about 2 hours eventually. And I left them too. I go, guys, we're done now. We've had a great time. Good night. And I took in the Zoom, 2 hours later, and I was still having a good old chin wag, which is awesome. So basically, I sent off the vermouth and gins and all sorts of things to them a few weeks in advance, and they had all ready to go, and we all synchronized, and it was great fun. So yes, so I do house calls, just so you know. So I can arrange that if that's what you want. It's true. So there you are. Do you want to see my bar? Give me a wave if you want to see my bar. Or you got a question? Just give me a wave. Otherwise I'll just drink. Cheers. You want to see my bar? No one's going to give me a wave? No one's going to say hello? Come on, kids. Interaction. So on this side, I'll do it anyway. On this side, we've got things like vodkas. It's going to be back to front, I realise. We're going to do it that way. Finally. Thank you. Might be a lag on the NBN or something. All right, should we do a fly around? It's going to be a bit back to front. What could possibly go wrong, right? So I do, this is not to brag, just because you... Here we go. Okay, so on this side, so I'm very fortunate I might stand up for this one. We'll do a flyover like... Okay, so we've got vodkas in this end. Yes, there are things besides gin, just so you realise. So again, you've got to think of this as a library. This is my reference library. I also have in that cabinet there more of the same. Again, different things and so on and so forth, but that's me just bragging. And in the office. But people send me stuff, so, I pour a little. So vodka's here. Schnapps, bourbons, tequilas. This is absolutely fantastic. This is due for a write-up too, so again, it's back to front, excuse me. The Cholera guys down near the Murray River make a fantastic series of whiskies, a really amazing setup, it's worth a look. This is particularly luscious, so they use all Rosso barrels and things like that. If you like bourbon, that's the good stuff, all right. What else we got? Then single malts, rums. So, for example, who knew that Noosa in Queensland made rum, right? So this popped up, Fortune Flavours de Blave, Noosa Distillery. They've got a brewery there, and they make gin and these rum. It's closer to an aquagolf to a rum. It's actually very, very nice. Beautiful silver spirit, very clean. They did a pretty nice job on this one, and quite a nice mouthfeel. So yeah, Noosa, you knew. Whiskies, rums, big fan of these guys out of Sydney, Bricks, the contemporary style. Rum is a hard category to talk about. I try very hard to get workshops and masterclasses up about rum. And of course, when we think about rum, in Australia anyway, we go straight to a certain label, don't we? So they're a lot to answer for, God bless them. But this category in Australia now is really, really exciting. The quality is amazing and diversity. And you've got places like the Hoochery, which is in the Kimberley, in the Ord River scheme. Spike, God bless him, rest in peace, set this up. That's him on the label there. Beautiful Texan man who set this up many years ago with his family. And they get about 30,000 people a year visit this place in the middle of nowhere near Connemara. Fantastic rums, really good. And just as on the subject, Ben Lee here, this is one of Australia's oldest distillery labels. And they've got Distillers License number 1 in Queensland. It's a story for another time, which I'll go back into if you want. But yeah, this stuff is actually really, really delicious. So yes, rum is a thing. Down here, we've got my vermouths, mixers, aperitifs, liqueurs, amaros, all that kind of good stuff down there. And then we come to the gin wagon, literally. So my beautiful mid-century modern cabinets, it's in better days. So a little flyer over down here. See that? There are a bit of holes. I'm doing a stock take now, so a few holes here. And there's some hiding in here. And again, some of these are reference libraries, different styles. Some I just want to hang on to, and some, there I actually drink. So, for example, Jensen's gin. People ask me what my favourite gins are. Then we've got something like Jensen's dry gins, a fantastic release. Or out of Tasmania, the Loreni range. Beautifully made by the guys down there, using local botanicals and local spirits. So yes, so a fair bit is going on. Barrel aged gin from the Tyringan gin from Bert, down in Tassie again. This is newish release, Sandy Grey out of Tassie. Fine gentlemen, make really, really lovely gin. And down here, and for South Australia guys, or people in general who just like their more flavoured kind of spirits, look out for the 36S range. John and his family out of South Australia again make a beautiful range of vodka and gins using base of wine out of McLaren Vale and all natural products and so forth. So they've got a blood orange gin, this one here, which I think is the best on the market, better than a big popular name we all know of similar flavour. Really, really, really lovely, just gorgeous natural flavours. So yes, so that's all getting taken apart. And probably the most exotic thing I've got in the bar at the moment is, of course, the Green Ant gin. There's the Green Ants. If you've not tried this gin, it's actually extremely good from Adelaide Hills Distillery. And the Green Ant's not really a gimmick. It's actually lends like a Tabasco hit, like a really bright Tabasco. So great. And speaking of COVID, which we weren't, Old Youngs out of Western Australia, when they're speaking to us over there, he a really, really great distiller, and he's just regularly 1829 gin. If you like a nice classic flinty London dry style gin, Old Youngs 1829, bee's knees. However, he sent me this. You can't buy this, and it's a bit rude, so you can see the label back to front with COVID. So this is a big bad boy at 60% ABV in response to an angry, defiant gin in response to the pandemic. It's actually very good, really resolved. So yes, so lots of adventures. So you can sit here and go, where do I want to go? And off we go. Oh, and final fun is, we all know Bombay, but to my mind, this is the only really Bombay gin you really want to drink. I'm going to put this back down again before you guys get dizzy. Oh, there's Cosmo. Say hi to Cosmo. Hi, Cosmo. Cosmo's very busy. Cosmo puppy. Let me put this back down again. Okay. Pleasure. Yes, so Bombay Sapphire. Again, this is big bad duty free boy again. Remember airports and duty free? Fantastic gin, seriously. I lugged a bottle of this around Borneo on a trek, as you do, with some local limes and tonic and maybe ice, using bottled water for gin and tonics in the evening. I should really get out more. But this is a fantastic gin. If you ever get your hands on it, I think it's the pick of the range. It's got beautiful pepper and savoury notes down there. So it's hard to find retail, but the East release from Bombay it's the pick, absolutely, by far. Better than the Sapphire, I think. If you just joined, yours truly, welcome. My name's Phil Joe's Martini Whisperer, and thank you for tuning in and your support. I've just been talking the last half hour or so about different kind of releases in my bar, new and old. I'm doing a bit of a spring clean at the moment this weekend, and discovered a whole bunch of little bottles from Berlin and Kangaroo Island and Moscow and so on and so forth. It'll be fun to share with you guys today. So Select Brand and Angelo, ciao, and welcome to Cocktail Hour. I hope you've got something agreeable wherever you are. And God's Corporate too. Here's to you. Cheers. If you're new to this arrangement, let me give you a little lesson here. So every month, I used to do this every week, but it was a bit hard on my poor old liver. Every month, I have a little theme, a little topic, and choose over and talk to you beautiful people. And then I do populate on my YouTube channel every week. There's a different video on a review or a pro tip on a certain martini kind of thing, and so on and so forth. And of course, on the website, there's in-depth articles of distillers. So I've got something like almost 300 articles now. And in the reviews, there's usually an interview with a distiller as well. So if you want to go a bit deeper into the review, plus, of course, as I was saying before, a list of all the Australian distillers that I've been keeping since 2012, before anybody else was doing it, I think. So at last count, if you just tuned in, this is the tally I updated a couple of days ago. There were 47 rum makers in Australia, 119 whiskey, rye related, 362 gin distillers and counting, 126 vodka, and almost 20 vermouth makers, which is really exciting. Of course, as I said before, there are double ups across the board there. But every few weeks I update that with another 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, and there's no sign of carrying down. I think the challenge for the industry will be just carving out that market share. From memory, if there's a big pie, I was a statistic today, we drank more in Australia by sales in December than ever before, which is probably no surprise for anybody when you think about it. However, out of that big pie of spirit sales, fraction of that, like a few percent, is craft spirits of all types. And of all that category, we know the big brands like the Archie Roses and the Four Pillars and, you know, those well-deserved successful brands, but then you've got everybody else trying to find their place and more entrants coming to the market. So the best we can do is buy local and support local produce, and that's where I come in. If you know, I see myself as the person in the middle between the distillers and your DSLs, as an educator and an advocate, and I've been doing this for like over a dozen years now. So it was a hobby, and now it's morphed into something else now, which is really great thanks to your support. So and some last one on the way. It's kind of fun, really. So what else can I tell you? I've got off-field questions. I'm just going to sip my cocktail here for a minute. In case you're wondering, and you've just tuned in, this is as big as it looks by way of scale. Regular martini glass. It's about 1960 kind of vintage. I get the good stuff out on a Friday night. So yes, Sardinian Gins Masterclass here in Canberra coming up, beginning of March. My own series resuming again this year on Australian craft spirits, and again on whiskey, rum, all the categories, etc. And I feature a different lineup each time to reveal the styles and how they're made. And it's been fun doing doing virtual masterclasses and tasting experiences too. So whatever last year presented, and it was just as challenging for me, it probably was for you, there was a lot of silver linings as well. One thing I should mention, just while I've got your attention, one thing that kind of got a bit wobbly last year was a TV series I've been working on for quite some time. I don't talk about it very often because these things, you don't want to jinx them, and if you know about movie or TV production business, you know just how what's the word? Challenging can be to just get a series up, let alone a movie or whatever. Anyway, for several years, I've been developing a series around craft distilling and cocktail culture in Australia. And it got to a point of a national broadcaster board, it got to a point of major investors, it got in front of a national production company last year, and and you've got to line up it's like four-dimensional chess. You've got to line up producers and financiers and directors and treatments and so forth. But it was all about that kind of journey. How do you get from, a bubbling Tasmanian spring to an amazing cocktail bar and all the shades in between? All the people make that possible, and the essence of place around that. So it got really, really close, and then of course COVID happened, and now and the bushfires and all those catastrophes. So I'm at a point where I now have to I want to revisit it. I'm not going to give that project up. And all the players have come and gone, so you've got to kind of start those relationships all over again. But I just mentioned in passing, so that every so often I'll mention that, and that's my big project I want to work on. And if, how to put this, you want to be part of that strategy, or you want to find out more about it, or maybe support it in some way, we're talking a very high-end production, international quality series. We're not talking cheap and cheerful, we're talking something that do Australia and distill us proud, and all the people, that ecosystem that make that possible. So that's my project. I got in front of the Australian Association a couple of years ago, talked about it, did some interviews and did research. So it's like tantalisingly close, but oh so far away. But anyway, so I may have some more news about that hopefully as we go along. So there you are. I'll let you go. You should get a drink, get something to eat, and it's been an absolute pleasure spending time with you. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Philip Jones, Martini Whisperer. Please follow me. I'm a bad influence. I do posts not every day, but every week, but follow my stories and so on and so forth. Hope you like dogs and puppies and cooking. I just try and be as genuine as I can with you. And again, if you're in Victoria, stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Again, thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.